It's that time of year, isn't it? Baseball's getting back in swing, and thus a lot of people are starting up their fantasy baseball drafts. I know I am as well. I'm in a league with 10 guys, and although this is my first time around with the fantasy, I have a good idea as I think that I'm a pretty generally smart person that can make some logical decisions. I am going to give you 5 people that you should toss the red flag at. Red flag, we don't want these guys. Avoid these 5 guys if possible. And I'm also going to give you 5 guys that you are sleeping on in fantasy baseball this year, in my opinion. And I'm going to hopefully back it up with some evidence to support myself. Let's get rocking. The first red flag that I want to throw your way is the newly signed Chicago Cubs third baseman Alex Bregman. ESPN Fantasy has him projected at 389 fantasy points, but I don't think that is a real thing. They have him hitting .265 with 25 homers and 82 RBIs. Now, here's the thing with Bregman. Those projections are based off of some metrics from the 2025 season. And what's the big difference between Alex Bregman playing as in the Red Sox at Fenway Park and Alex Bregman with the Cubs in Wrigley Field? Oh yeah, ballpark factor. He is a right-handed hitter going into Wrigley Field who was just peppering the monster with doubles last year till he got hurt for a little bit. He scored 533 fantasy points last year. But the ballpark factor does not favor this man. I will say that much right now. That wind is blowing anywhere in Wrigley Field, and you can tell me that 81 of Alex Bregman's games that he's going to play 81 games at Wrigley Field. Those numbers, they're not coming around. He's not going to get those numbers at Wrigley Field. So, do you still take him and just bench him at that point? No, if you end up with him on your squad, that's not the worst idea, but I think ballpark factor is a big, big red flag to look out for in Alex Bregman. Now, obviously, all these guys can prove me wrong, but ballpark factor is going to affect Alex Bregman. The change from Fenway to Chicago is going to be big for him. However, he is playing now in the NL Central in a division that is not very good. So, then again, that is probably not the biggest of concerns. When you look at Bregman, I'm concerned about the ballpark factor. And he is the first guy that I'm throwing the red flag at. I'm picking him up and I'm tossing him aside on my draft board. He's going nowhere near my queue. Another guy that I'm throwing the red flag at is going to be Riley Green of the Detroit Tigers. And now you might be thinking, all right, I might have been able to get behind the Bregman one, but Riley Green, seriously? Well, think about this here. He's an outfielder and a DH for fantasy. He's projected through ESPN for 316 fantasy points. And you're thinking, what could possibly be an issue here? Well, I'll tell you. Riley Green strikes out at a criminal rate. He had 201 strikeouts last year on the Detroit Tigers and 156 the year before. Now, notably, he did hit 36 homers last year. So what you're going to get with Green is a lot of strikeouts, but you're going to have some high homer potential, and you're going to get yourself some hits. Like, he's hit 200 he's hit over 250 every year of his career, and actually his career average is 264. However, he, as those strikeout issues, does concern me, especially with a 30.7 strikeout rate to only a 7 walk rate. It concerns me. Do I think it's a guaranteed do not take him? No, I'm just sharing the thought that, well, Riley Green is most likely not the guy that you are going to want to throw in your starting lineup if you can avoid it. So many more better options at the outfield position, and you only need 3 outfielders. Riley Green, I personally do not think should be one of them that you take. And on a similar note as Riley Green, for basically the same reasons, another outfielder DH, this one from the Washington Nationals, it's James Wood. Projected 340 fantasy points, but last year, strikeouts ate him alive, especially in the second half after that home run derby. He had 221 strikeouts in 157 games and 689 plate appearances. Now, notably, he did hit 256 last year, and he did hit 31 home runs. So if you're going to pick between the two, pick Green over Wood. But a 32.1% strikeout rate to a 12.3% walk rate is never, ever, ever something that you should want to be seeing. Now, obviously, James Wood is going to put up some crazy exit velo numbers, and his batting average on balls in play last year was 350. So when he hits the ball hard. However, I do think that staying away from strikeouts and high strikeout guys is one of the best strategies that you can make. And that is why James Wood is going to be joining the likes of Bregman and Riley Green. Number 4 on the list of guys that you should probably avoid is going to be Zach Gallen for me. He is going to be an Arizona Diamondback next year once again, as he, well, should be, as he really stunk it up last year with 4.83 ERA. However, he did have a 4.50 FIP, which really is not much better, so it wasn't the defense screwing him over. He did throw 192 innings, and he did strike out 175 hitters, but he's just not that 2023 Zach Gallen anymore. And once again, he's projected at 374 fantasy points from ESPN, and I think that is a terrible, terrible prediction on their part. I mean, last year, he had a 43.7% ground ball rate, hovers around league average, right? His opponents hit 239 against him and slugged 426 against him with a 729 OPS. They had a 271 average on balls in play. That is not really the greatest if you really think about it. However, Zach Gallen is also pitching in Arizona again. He was unable to get out of there. And Arizona is not really a pitcher-friendly park. And really, I think 374 projected fantasy points is way higher than I think that he would be able to go. I mean, like, this dude's Baseball Reference projections and his ESPN predictions, like, they're kind of similar, to be honest, but ESPN, more Ks, more wins, less losses, a lower ERA by a lot. I don't think Gallen can bounce back I don't think he can go from a 4.8 ERA to a 3.9 ERA just like that. Something has to change. Something has to go down there. And I don't know if Gallen staying in Arizona was going to be that fix for him. So I would stay away from Zach Gallen as best as possible. And finally, the final guy that I'm going to toss the red flag at is going to be Matthew Boyd of the Chicago Cubs. Now, you are going to have to hear me out a little bit on this one. Matthew Boyd in 2025 went 14-8 with 154 strikeouts at a 3.21 ERA and a 1.09 WHIP. This year, he's projected at 329 fantasy points with a 3.65 ERA and 141 Ks. Matthew Boyd is not the biggest of strikeout pitchers in the game, obviously. And, well, he's going to throw you a good amount of innings when he's healthy. It's if you can stay healthy. Then again, he gave up 19 home runs for the Cubs last year, which, playing in Wrigley, 19 home runs for most of your starts, it's fine, by all means. It's not anything crazy. It has 7.7 strikeouts per 9, a 3.6 strikeout to walk rate in 180 innings, pretty much. I mean, by no means was he bad. And if you look at the numbers, you're like, oh, no, he's actually pretty good. But he's only thrown 130 innings or more 4 times in his entire career. And, well, I don't think that he is going to be the most reliable option down the stretch, especially due to, once again, decreasing velocity numbers. I don't think Matt Boyd is going to be the guy that you're going to go after. Now, once again, it's still league average on ground ball, fly ball rate, but at 38.2 hard hit rate is also very, very good. But I'm concerned with Boyd being able to stay healthy on the field. And I am also interested to see how Matthew Boyd, if he stays healthy, how he's going to be with the decreasing velocity numbers. And that's why I would stay away from him. But there you go. There are my top 5 players to stay away from in fantasy baseball. And because this is already kind of a long-ish episode, I'm going to do the other episode where I do the 5 sleepers next time. And I'm going to record that. I'll get it out to you guys, and I'll have it posted on the same day as this video, so it should be up when you guys are watching this. But with that being said, this has been 5 people you should stay away from in fantasy baseball. If you agree with me, that's great. If you end up taking these guys and they perform well, don't shoot the messenger. But prove me wrong. I hope they do prove me wrong. But I know that I will not be taking them for the reasons that I have disclosed. And here on Warning Track Power, we are just a few feet short of the fences, but all in on the game. See you next time.